So welcome everyone, I'm Ivy Rivera. I'm a psychic medium, a Taino Airwalk. This is my Ask Ivy show where I take your personal questions on any topic under the sun and I deliver out messages from spirit. You're going to drop a $10 donation and then post your question. If you are asking about a person living or deceased, maybe a workplace, an address of a house, please do include at the very least the initials of whoever, whatever you're referring to. But if you can give the first name, that would be great. Don't make Mairead, my beautiful producer, chase you down. Okay, she is on Instagram and on TikTok in the comment section, dropping repeatedly how you could drop your donation and leave your question, because those two platforms do not allow us to pin or put up a description. So we have to just kind of do it organically. Okay, so don't make her chase you down. What do I mean by that? If your name on your payment is completely different than your social media name, she's not going to know that. So you have to inform her. It helps to keep the show moving. And it looks like we already have quite a few coming in. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and get right into it. Let me find a clean piece of paper here. It is Mercury in retrograde, and I do have Gemini and like 7 planets and houses, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, on and on. So bear with me. It hits me like a ton of bricks. And I have already been loopy. Okay. Anyone else feeling this retrograde already? Let me know in the comments. Also, if everyone could please drop a comment of any kind, it helps me out in the algorithm. Give this video a thumbs up right now. Please do subscribe. And if you would like to become a YouTube member for monthly perks, you can hit the join button at Ask Ivy on YouTube and look at the 3 different membership tiers. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Mairead, what do we have? Okay. Shauna Dempsey. What message does Spirit have for me? Shauna. Shauna, I feel like you're supposed to be working on something. It's almost like a transfer. It's like out with the old and in with the new, but it's kind of more like dragging the old into the new. You know, so it's not a complete detox where we're throwing out the old and starting from scratch. It's more like like I said, a transfer, a transition. It's understanding how one can be meshed into the other. It's almost like leverage here. So I do think this is an important time for you going forward, at least for the next 3 weeks intensely. There will be some more information coming in about this, but 3 months total. This is a time of transition for you. And it's an important time for you to be more focused on what you authentically want to be doing, what you know is in alignment with your life contract, how you're spending, maybe not the full majority of your time, but more progressively of your time doing work that is fulfilling for you, is meaningful, and is part of your calling versus old stuff that you got involved with maybe to pay the bills because it is and has always been expected of you because it seemed like the more responsible thing to do. And while all of that is valid, you know, dead, done, over with, there is a time for an upgrade. And when the universe is supporting it in this way, you want to make it happen. So this transition is not going to just fall into your lap. I'm not talking about something that is a given. It is in a free will zone. I get it. Yes to your future, already starting, already brewing, already moving, but it is ultimately up to you to push it through the rest of the way. You may find yourself juggling quite a few things all at once for a while, and that's okay. You know, there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just allowing. Don't get in your own way. Don't hold yourself back is what I'm hearing. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Don't become double-minded or fearful and then stop your growth and stagnate out, preventing your prosperity. You are moving from the old into the new, but instead of it just being cutting off, it's transitional, okay? So toy with both here for a while. This is an exciting time for you. All right, thank you, Shauna. We have another one coming in here from Yolanda. Yolanda wants to know any messages from loved ones. Yolanda, you have a gentleman coming through who watches over you in a paternal way. He didn't say a lot. He is very, when I say paternal, I mean sort of protective, definitely watchful, but not trying to dictate to you. He would have been a little bit more on the quiet side, where maybe people didn't think he had a whole heck of a lot to offer, but when you listen to him, especially if you like gave him a drink, you sat down on the porch with him, he was full of wisdom. And he said that this is kind of what you're becoming. You're full of this wisdom that needs to come out, but like nobody would know you have it. Maybe people don't know to go ask you for it. So this is a period of time where you're supposed to be stepping out. You're supposed to be making it known that you're here. I'm here. You can come to me for whatever services it is that you want to be offering. This could also be happening on a social level. This isn't like just happening with something like work and business. This is happening in general. This is you going out onto the streets, you going out in social situations, you being out there with family and friends and making it known that you have this wisdom. So it isn't just about waiting on people to come and request it from you. It's you, and this feels hard for you. I feel like you're digging deep. I feel like he's helping you to dig deep. It's like I got to reach into myself and I'm going to have to pull it out, flailing and fighting and not wanting to come out at all, and it looks almost like a baby being born. It's all naked and wet and gross and everyone's upset, and so it's like, this isn't easy. This isn't for you. For you, it's not easy. I don't think it was part of your logical plan in life. I think that you had another agenda here that seems safe but dull, dying and, hitting the bare minimum, supplying, of resources for you in life. So this ability for you to teach, to lead, to give out your wisdom, to give out your strength, to help others is where your currency is going to be here for a while. It's like every time you do it, especially if you do it without having to be asked, the universe is going to be putting in your piggy bank. Okay. And those are instant payouts, because the way he shows it, money going into your piggy bank, let's say that it's the universe. I can't talk, like Mercury in retrograde. These are blessings. Okay. But a piggy bank is something you can get into. And so you can use them right away. Immediate blessings and prosperity and movement and fluidity here. I like this for you a lot, but I do feel like it's a period of time for you to be brave. You're kind of done hiding, he says, but you do get that from him. And he never really stopped. I don't want to say he was hiding, but he never really ventured out to give what he knew. He didn't. And now I think he kind of wishes he had, but he's living a bit vicariously through you. We have another one coming in here from Karen Grabowski. Karen Grabowski, can you tell me if my mom, Delphine, has any messages for me on where I will be living in the next year or two? Okay, thank you. Delphine. Oh, I feel a little tired. She is kind of tired watching you. I think that you think about this a lot. You may think about it to a point where it's like, I don't ever want to have this thought again. I don't want to think about this anymore. I'm done with this. I'm sick of this question. Now, you may not be there yet, but I want to say it this way. It's important you don't reach that point, because that's borderline burnout, in my opinion. And you could get burnt out over anything, right? So this should be seen as more of an opportunity for growth, and see it as excitement, maybe a new adventure. But what she is saying here is that there's the possibility of like a small movement. And you may already be looking at this, where it's almost like from this house to this apartment, or from this apartment to this apartment. It's close by. It's not a big, huge move, and it isn't long term. It's a temporary fix. It's something that is maybe solving some problems or answering questions, but isn't the ultimate goal. And so that's one of the options. I think that what may be best is that you're getting on a considerable amount of land. And I do see this coming through as more of an opportunity hitting the 2-year mark out from now. So anywhere from like a year and 3 months to the 2-year mark, this is unrolling in such a way where it would be, I don't want to say easy, but easier for you to get your mother says like your claws in it, to grab onto it, to clutch onto it in such a way where no one else could have it. And so I feel like the money will be there, the resources will be there, the contracts will be there. I keep seeing a blue house, but it looks a little rough to me. This can be symbolic of self-empowerment, okay? So the house itself does not have to be blue. It can symbolize that that's what the house represents to you. Self-empowerment, like you're feeling you're coming more into your power. And in taking this house, I like the idea of the land because you can't see. It's almost like you can't see anybody else, your neighbors. You have space there. And even if there are some things about this house that make it a fixer-upper, I do feel like it would be the best opportunity for you. And it has quite a lot of space. So you have a few different options. I mean, you have another one that comes up before that. I would be careful and watch for plumbing. Watch for water stains. Watch for anything. Ask questions about water and plumbing. If something seems a little too good to be true and it's moving very quickly and everyone's trying to move it through quickly, the broker and whatnot, slow the roll. Okay? Yeah, there will be some other options before that, but I don't love them. The Esmeralda Marie Rivera coming down, giving her stretches, waking up from her 6-hour nap. All right, we're going to move on to Edgar Velardes, and your mom loves you. Edgar Velardes, do my deceased uncles, Valentin or Santos, have any messages for me? Santos. There's talk of the grave with him and what feels like possibly a disturbing passing or a lack of closure. There doesn't seem to be a lot of clarity. It seems like everything around his passing was also very, very quick. It's, I don't want to say done half-assed, but it just feels like a lack of fulfillment there. It is something he's talking about in regards to, I want to say with you, making sure that you say everything you need to say when you're alive, when you're around the people that you love, when you have opportunities to do so, okay? Make sure that you aren't taking your best parts, your stories, the love that you have to give to the grave. I think there's a lot he didn't say. I think he was under the impression that maybe he had more time than what he did. But there was also quite a lot of reservation within him, almost like he shouldn't say it or there could be negative consequences if he shared. And he didn't test it a whole lot. He didn't push that envelope. He stayed in a comfort zone and he agreed to abide by what was essentially fear-based energy. So we would say that's ego, right? Fear, manipulation, and control versus love and faith and positivity. And even if it seems like he shared a significant amount, there was a whole lot there that he was keeping in. He doesn't want you to follow in those footsteps. It does seem like there could have been something within the family that, how do I want to say this? It's almost like, it's not a generational curse. I mean, I don't believe in those, but I do believe in psychological programming. You know, there's something within the family that says like, stay small or keep it in or don't share that or don't be too lively or don't be too loving or don't be too childlike, you know? And it's like it's almost like within this year, you're busting out once and for all and you're leaving that behind. You're shedding it and he's proud of you. He puts a crown on you like king, okay? You're becoming a king. And you really have to if you're going to tell other people to do the same. You have to walk it. You can't just talk it. All right, we're going to move on to another one. This is from Elvin Ramos. Are there any chances of my family seeing my daughter soon? Okay, let's see what's going on with this. You know, there's some talk of a visitation. I don't know if it's the kind that you would want to have. Uh, it may not be up to your standards. It may not necessarily be up to their standards. It's not the type of thing where we're like, okay, we finally made it to the finish line and we have things the way we want them. But it is what you're asking. It is a visitation. But that's the word I'm hearing is visitation. And it comes up as 3 weeks or 3 in general. So timeline can shift a bit here because there are, what I like to say, too many hands in the pot. Every single hand in the pot has free will. So everyone involved in the situation, you know, has free will. But ultimately, it does feel like it's about 3 weeks. And it could be a brief visitation, but nonetheless, yes, it exists within that time as a possibility. I do feel that it could be taken away from someone else and like given to them. So it could be a situation where maybe the court, the judge, you know, some compromise that's being made is happening beyond the mom or the person in authority there. You know, it's going above, and they're saying this needs to happen. It's for the child's well-being. It's for the best interest of everyone involved. We could see also an alternative route with this, all happening around the same time frame. I'm not really getting a different time frame. This one could possibly be more around the 5-week time frame, but you could even hear something about it in the next like 5 days, 5 to 7. We're talking business days, but possibly the mother is allowing for that. It just seems almost like a Jekyll and Hyde situation. I feel like I'm looking at 2 different people, and it's kind of like, well, is she gonna kind of take it away? Is she gonna pull the rug out from under us? Like, it doesn't look normal, and it doesn't look like it's in alignment with what you've seen in the past where there was like a no, a wall, a door shut. You know, this is a different energy. And so it's like, what is happening with that? Is that a guarantee? I don't know. But I think if it doesn't go in that direction, it will go in this other direction. That's the highest likelihood as of today. So a couple different routes for this to occur. Mariana Rose. Okay, thank you to everyone who's sending in their questions. And for those of you on Instagram and TikTok, if you're wondering how this is happening, everyone else is on Facebook and YouTube. And so they're just dropping everything in one place. For you guys, though, on Instagram and TikTok, Marie, my beautiful producer, is posting in the comment section over and over how you can drop your payment. If you don't want to deal with any of that, switch over to YouTube at Ask Ivy, and that's always the best place for you guys to support me so I can continue to do more of these shows. If you are tuning in late, drop $10 donation and your question of any kind, and I will get to it. And please give this video a thumbs up. Mariana Rose, if possible, I would like to know when I will find genuine love. Would love some guidance from Spirit. Well, I keep seeing you, this is, you know, symbology. Now, you may do this, and that's great if you do, but I'm doubting it. I see you petting turtles, and I see you petting puppies. And then it's like the puppy and the turtle are playing together. What do these 2 symbols mean? Okay, these are totems of you. This is who you are. This is the energy you're working from in love right now. So you're going out into the world, and you're saying, I want love. I want genuine love. And you are a combination of a puppy and a turtle, a little turtle at that, not an old 400-year-old tortoise of wisdom, okay, but like a baby little green turtle. What does this mean? Well, you may have some idealistic ideas about love. You may be coming from some immature energy where you're somewhat vulnerable, a little too hopeful or open, or maybe even needy. And that's okay, but you want to be realistic about the level of vulnerability that you have when you go out into the world with that energy, because people who pick up on it are typically predatory. So when we talk about the turtle, this is you, we're talking about having a space where you can pull your arms and feet in and hide. Okay. When we think of the turtle in like psychology, or kids who draw the turtle with their therapist and stuff like this, they talk a lot about how they identify with the turtle because sometimes they just want to hide away from the world. They just want to feel protected and safe. And they may not feel that anyone is safe. They may not feel they have anywhere to go, but within themselves. So, what's interesting about it is I never see your head going in. You're pulling your arms and legs in, but your head is still out there. And that's kind of the most vulnerable part. You might be able to live without one of those other parts, but you don't want to get cut off by the throat. So you need to be keeping your cards closer to your vest as you deal with people. All people, okay, that you're having any type of intimate exchanges with. Keep your cards close to your vest. Think of protecting you more. Every time you're engaging with someone, think of keeping yourself safe. Does this person feel safe? Ask more questions. Be more silent. Go slow. Okay, go slow, or stay in your shell. You don't have to move at all. And the puppy represents loyalty. The puppy represents, again, that sort of young, loving energy, having a lot to give, being excited about love, hopeful about love. But really, what your higher mind wants is safety with the turtle and loyalty with the dog. So you could come more with that energy and attract more people who are in alignment with that. I want to say for the upcoming maybe 2 years, and then it'll increase if you continue to do the work for 2 to 5 years. I think that you need to ask those harder questions. You do have someone coming in that you could find yourself dating regularly, but I think the big test for you is going to be, are you willing to say the first red flag is the last red flag and leave? And if you can't do that, then you are not being a loyal puppy to yourself, and you're not being the protective turtle that you're meant to be, you know? So let's see how you play this next one, and then we'll see what the universe gives you. CJG. What message does Spirit have for me today? CJG, what message for her? Money, 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 money going in, money coming out. Big pile of money. What are you putting it into? I think that you may be looking at your resources right now, and you may be hesitant to put money on something like a vacation or an investment in yourself or something you consider a luxury. But I don't think you should be hesitant about that. Sometimes when you put in, you get back out tenfold because you're doing it within alignment of what you're supposed to be investing in. Money is just a tool. It's just a resource, right? Anything we hoard out of fear and we're not willing to allow to flow, you're going to, automatically get less of. There is something on my shirt that is making me crazy. I'm losing my mind today. So how can we get back in the flow? Sometimes it is required. Sometimes it is like a test, and the universe is saying, are you worth it? Do you know that you're worth it? Are you going to put back into you? Are you going to invest on this for you and your happiness and your joy and a little luxury, unapologetically? Are you going to do it? And so I'd be mindful of that. It's coming up slightly to the right. So this could be something coming up in the next, I'm hearing 2. Could it be 2 weeks? It could, but I would say 2 months. And, the other thing I'm seeing is having to put money towards something. So be prepared if there's a repair or you need to invest in a larger purchase. This could run from a car to something mechanical to, having to do repairs on some things. And it can hit a couple different areas, but I don't necessarily feel like it's going to be super stressful for you. I think you should look at the things that you have as also being a sign of your prosperity, a sign of an investment opportunity. We look around, a lot of us, for example, who have these older homes. I have some friends and we all have these old 200-year-old houses, and we're losing our minds all the time because it's one thing after another, after another, after another. But every time we have one of those conversations about how we have homeowners fatigue, old house fatigue, I always say, but would you want a modern house that breaks after 3 years and it looks like something cut out of cardboard from some generic, like, would you want that? No, of course not. Also, would you want to be renting? No, of course not. So we're just going to we're going to try to focus on the fact that this is what we chose. Thank you, TikTok, on the fact that this is what we have chosen. And we want to see everything that we have as a blessing, not just something we have to, through a drudgery, sort of maintain. Also, if you need anything more toward that, it will be coming in automatically. Also, don't tolerate someone. If someone's talking to you nasty, I hear someone talking to you nasty, and you're like, I'm not going to entertain that. I have you saying, I'm not going to entertain that. And I have like literally your guides watching from behind and saying, she's going to entertain that. She's going to respond to that. And it's like somebody's trying to get your goat. And the minute you respond, you feed their ego. They feel like they won. And let's forget about them. You demoted your own self. You fell off your throne. You put your sword down. You knocked your own crown off. You know what I mean? Do not entertain people that are below you. Not through a text, not through a response, not through a comment, not any way. Okay. All right, we're going to move on. Maraid says, hi, Ivy. I've paused the dating apps for a while. I don't blame you. I have paused the dating apps for a while. Should I get back on them and get back out there right now? Right now? Looks like right now there's a lot of chatter. So you could get on and it's like a freaking avalanche, okay, of dudes coming at you, which is fine. That's the point. Feels good for the ego. That's kind of fun. It's always nice to hear that people are attracted to you, whatever. But it's short-lived in that the high, that dopamine hit is not going to last very long. It's like, I see you with ashwagandha drops, like there's got to be a better way than this. So be certain to categorize when you are feeling good after getting a dopamine hit or some kind of ego stroke versus actually being attracted to someone on there, and having a nice interaction, a real interaction of value. I think that what happens here is in the next few months, and I'm hearing 5 months in particular, there could be more activity on there that's meaningful. I see you talking to someone and there's a lot of exchange about how to build things, how to do things, intellectual exchange. This person is very aware of things like systems, organizations, the engineer's mind, how things operate, how things fit together. What doesn't work? They kind of have a lot of dark energy. They can talk about very dark things without a need to tell a really dark, sarcastic joke at the end and wrap it up. No. They just say dark, horrible things and leave it there. They just are comfortable leaving it there. So you may be like, is there something wrong with this person? But I don't think so. I think that some people are more comfortable with that. Maybe there's some Scorpio in there. Some people are just more comfortable with that and they don't feel a need to sugarcoat it, to polish it up, to wrap it up in a bow, or to make it palatable. It is what it is. This person doesn't care if they're alone or not. Obviously, they're on a dating app, so they would like to have company, but the standards are pretty high. So you could fall for this and be like, yeah, this works for me. I like that. But up until then, it seems like you're doing a lot of lighthearted chatter. There could also be two people who kind of find you on the app and are really dedicated to meeting up. I think have a good time with it. But your attraction level, and you seem very distracted with somebody else and something else. So I would expect that. That's on you. You know, that's on you. But it is where things are right now. So yeah, get on, but, you know, enjoy it. Take it for what it is. Alyssa Sinkov. Sorry if I massacred that. Alyssa Sinkov. Ivy, I've had a very rocky relationship with my mother, father, and sister, and there have been some lines crossed lately. Any messages for me? Okay, so your mom, your dad, and your sister. Let me see what I'm getting with this. Your dad really seems to be stirring the pot and then pulling back and not saying anything. Not helpful. Not helpful. Your mom seems to come from some very negative energy, always stirring it up and looking for something. It's like, I'm looking for something negative. I got to find it, or I got to say it, or I got to pinpoint how something isn't right or should be better or should be. And it's like, I think, you know, don't take this the wrong way, but I think your mother is miserable. And I think your mother has not worked on her life. And it's kind of giving misery loves company. And, you know, she is committed to staying where she is. You know, she is committed to going down with this ship. So be it. Good luck with that. You know, that's your position. That needs to be your position of detachment. It's in wanting them to be different that you're feeling this pain. It's in wanting it to be something better and wanting for all of them to want what's best for them. That's where you're starting to really feel sucked in or drained. Your sister is a bit of a, may have seemed like a pawn in the game at some point, but has become a bit of a flying monkey. I see triangulation going on here. I hate triangulation. I just put out a video on this. It's an old one. But anyways, it's up on my TikTok and everywhere. Triangulation, when people are talking behind your back and they're doing it in such a way to cut down your self-esteem and to take power and control you from a distance, make you fearful that you could be like ostracized or sort of kicked out of the group in some way, that you're not worthy of being there unless you reduce yourself down, you know, or you perform for them in the way that they want you to. It's a horrible manipulation tactic, and it is something that can cause you a great deal of paranoia and low self-esteem if you let it, and even depression, and I can't prescribe a diagnose. So, I mean, I'm going to have to say to you, I would be setting heavy boundaries here that would include probably no more talking with them. I don't really know what the point is. Like, when was the last time you had a great conversation with these people? When was the last time you were uplifted by these people? Now, I know you're uplifting them all the time. I get that. We see that. There's plenty of that. There's too much of that. When was the last time you were fed here? No. You know, so you need to come up with a game plan, okay, on how you're going to handle this going forward, because this is not working. And they don't have ambition to change. I am telling you, especially with Ma, she's going to go down with this shit. She's dedicated to going in the wrong direction. A lot of people are for their whole life, and they reincarnate and they have to do it over again. Okay, so you're not going to find it here. I'm sorry for that. Edgar Velardes, another question from Edgar. Does my friend Lewis have any messages for me? The anniversary of his passing was last month. Thanks. Lewis, you know, when I go over here with Lewis, he's just showing, and he has shown up in a couple dreams for you lately. I do think one was around the time of his passing. I think there was another one just before that, maybe 3 weeks before that, 3 days before that. And it's like, he keeps showing water, a lot of water, and like alligators or crocodiles, or if you have had a lot of dreams or even symbology out around you of like lizards, chameleons, frogs, amphibians, you know, things like this. It's like he's constantly trying to get these across to you. Okay, so a couple different things. There's that symbology, which is you. That's who you are right now as a totem. And then there's this image of the cards coming up. You are moving out of a phase, is essentially what he's saying here. And he loves you very much. And he comes through just sort of comforting you if you have moments of feeling lonely or low. or frustrated, worried about the future, whatever it is. He has a way of just sort of sitting with you and just kind of putting his arm around you and not saying anything, just sitting and keeping you company. It reminds me of Winnie the Pooh and Piglet, watching a sunset. It's very sweet, very simple. But this idea of the alligators and the crocodiles and the frogs and all of this, what are they? Well, you're moving out of a period of time where you've had to be very pliable. You've had to be very fluid. You've had to be adaptable. You can go from the water to the land. No one sees you coming and you chomp off their leg and you eat them, and that's how you eat, and you have to get ahead, and you could feel a little dog eat dog about things. You could also feel like you're shedding your old skin when we look at like lizards and what they do, and a lot of quick growth. He's mentioning like the frogs, the toads, they went from being a tadpole to a full-blown like frog. Also symbolizing happiness here, so you have evolved quickly in the last year, and then it's leading to more happiness. He's been with you, on that whole journey. But I think that what's coming up next, when he shows you putting down these cards, you're about to play your hand. You're going to have to play your hand. Say you're playing poker. You can only hold these cards for so long. You don't know what everyone else has. You only know what you have, and you may not be super confident with your hand, but it's almost like you're hoping to win. So you may be making a calculated risk, taking a step out in blind faith here soon. It's going to be called for. You either do it or you don't. And if you put your hand down, you could, I think, win pretty big on this. As of today, anyways. I don't really see it changing. I don't think there's a very high likelihood of it changing much. There are quite a few hands in the pot, a lot of free will. This could be work related. Okay, this could also be residency related. This could be resource related. Okay, so he's going to be helping you through that journey. Right now, be a frog. Okay, be a water puppy. Enjoy your positions of, strength and your adaptability and the things that you've learned. Take time to go over what happened the last year. He misses talking with you. I feel like the two of you just like having a beer, having a coffee, just sitting down and chatting. Just keep talking to him. I feel like you do. I don't always feel like you listen very well though. Okay. A lot of love there. All right. We're going to move on to another one from CJG. I am getting a closed throat chakra with you. Something needs to be said. Literally choking. Oh my God, I'm losing my voice. What are you dealing with? CJG, could you please tell me why I get extra motivated and then lack energy so suddenly? This pattern has occurred for a while now. Okay. Why do you get motivated and then lose your energy? I think you're not doing enough. I think you're not saying enough. I'm literally getting a closed throat chakra giving you this reading. Okay. When we talk about a closed throat chakra, it's A, you're not speaking your truth, or B, you do, but it's disregarded, it's disrespected, it's denied, nothing changes, and you're not necessarily pushing it to the next level. When that happens, you have to come at it again, come at it in a different way. And if nothing changes, you set a boundary. And if that boundary is walking away, then so be it. But you can't just leave it like that. I feel like one of the things going on with you is that you're not super confident that you will be heard. You're not super confident that there will be payout for the things that you want to do. And that is your way of silencing and feeding this throat chakra issue. This is a karmic issue. This is a past life issue, and this is an issue you need to end now. So you're not just going around this mountain again and again in this life. I think that there are many ways, and you need to pay more attention to this detail. There are many ways to speak. Speaking is about what you say, obviously. It's also about what you don't say. It's about where you show up and where you won't show up, what thoughts you feed, what you refuse to feed, what you put your time and energy into and keep pushing for, and what you won't. Sometimes you got to do it tired. All right. It's about your body language, the way you dress, all of this. These are all means of communication. And I think that what's happening for you is you don't think it's going to be worth it. And I think that you've had so many experiences in the past where you were either denied, destroyed, or defeated, that you have decided it's more of a point of exhaustion, okay, to stay motivated and get something done, then it, would prove to be worth. So you're leaning more into that. You need to have a game plan and push through. It's kind of like a writing project. You need to have a dedicated amount of time to work toward it, or it's not going to get done. It's like weight loss. You need to go hard in the beginning. You're talking 5-6 days a week, 60 minutes or more of intensity. If you've got weight loss that you want, eventually you can pull back and maintain. But for a while, you have to go hard and you have to force it, and you have to change your mentality at the root. It is about your throat chakra. We have another question coming in here from a Teeny. Teeny says, my friend Gabe passed away. Does he have any messages he'd like to say to me? So when Gabe comes through, he makes me feel like this may have been either a quick passing, or everyone feels very cut off from him. It feels like I'm going along, and then quick. Okay, I'm caught up. And I do wonder if you have been concerned that he's kind of caught up or stuck or hasn't crossed to the other side, that he's not in a good place, but he just wants to remind you that he is, and that's the most important thing. When you think of him, instead of getting down about his passing or having worrisome thoughts because you can't see him in a concrete way, remember that and that he has been coming through, and that he's in a good place. He is also talking about leaving you little objects that you can collect and put into, whether you have a little memorial area for him. If you haven't already started it, go ahead and start it up, but you can put them in jars or put them around the memorial area. But I see him leaving you crystals, stones, rocks. You may find a rock and be like, a rock. Wow, what a gift, but it is, because it came from him. He left you a pebble. How the heck did he get a pebble right there? It's like, what, right on your bedroom floor, like right there, there's a rock. How the hell did that get there, right? So he tries to get the crystals, but sometimes they just look like brown rocks. He's very sweet. He's thoughtful, and he gives you things he thinks you'll enjoy, that you can collect and like have like little toys. Feathers as well. And he already started. I feel like, I don't know if you didn't get a proper goodbye with him, but I feel like I'm choking. He could have also had choking throat lung issues before his passing. I don't need this twice in a row. But he wants you to know that this is a stronger means of communication, even than it was in life. Okay. You guys can talk without bounds now. And he's working on that. He's working on that a lot. I think he is good at moving things also. I know he said the feathers, so be watching for the feathers. Pick them up, collect them. Songs, he is good at moving things. So we're talking technology, lights flickering, the phone acting up, batteries draining, sending you music, sending you songs, manipulating your playlist, the radio and things like that. But he's also showing me the movie Ghost. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Go back. It's older, but like when they're moving the penny, when the heck was his name? Patrick Swayze is moving the penny up the wall to give to her. Old-time mediums, we've always seen this. It's called pennies from heaven. So he is trying to leave you more pennies, nickels, dimes, quarters, tokens. Watch out for those as well. He said, though, mostly it feels like you were a friend who never judged him. You were a friend who always had an open heart and made time for him. He loves you, and he's always there for you. Okay, always. You got a lot of fun coming up, and he'll be with you. Okay, fun, parties, travel, adventure. He tends to show up on those days. Maraid says, can you tell me what to expect of my financial situation for the rest of the summer? finances for the rest of the summer for Maraid. We are in July. We're toward the end of July, so that's August. Okay, September. Your finances really seem to be improving, and your mood seems to be improving, and you seem to be having more fun. So I feel like everything's going in the right direction. I wouldn't overspend. I mean, if there are things that you can cut, you may want to scale back so that you can feel even better about it instead of like, I'm okay with it. You know, it's like, no, I have a nice little savings, a nice little buffer zone. So, you know, but that's up to you. And I don't really see you wanting to cut anymore. So I'm just throwing it out there. But it's improving. I think that you always look at it with such a critical eye, though, where it's like on to the next, on to the next, on to the next payment, on to the next burden, on to the next investment, on to the next repair, on to the next. Like, you're always thinking of it that way. That's not wrong. You know, that's what money is, right? It's to be used to increase, to invest in things, you know, to create experiences. Just remember that part, because it's like the money is giving you the keys to your freedom, and it's going to be up to you to take those keys and then go through those doors. So remember that the extra money that's coming in and how everything is falling into place, whether it be with like debts or, you know, other random things, like everything is falling into place for the next few months. Remember that it is to give you your freedom, not to encourage you to hoard resources. Money is about experiences. Okay, so how can you use it to live the way you've been wanting to live? Because it feels like you've been a little bit on hold. So I see you sort of like skyrocketing, okay, into what you want to do. Absolutely, have fun with it. And it will last. Also, during that time, don't get paranoid and be like, well, what if everything falls? What if? You know, what? You know, we can't live like that, or we're not living. All right, do we have any other questions? I see a couple people asking how to send payment. I do want to make the announcement. This is the last call. So if you guys want to drop your questions, your $10 donation, do so now. Maraid is going to be gathering up the last of the questions. And if you don't make it in for tonight's show, you can book a private reading with me on my website, Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com. Okay. And I see some thank yous coming in. I would love to hear from you guys where you're tuning in from, how you heard of this show. And if you have a testimony, how the reading resonated with you or a past reading resonated with you, please do let everyone know in the comments. It helps other people feel a little safer about stepping out, taking a risk on a reader. I appreciate it. Catalyst GW. Meow, meow, meow. Catalyst GW. Am I talking to you? You think I am, but I'm not. What's up? Okay, Catalyst GW. Just popping in to thank you for reading 2 summers ago. Aw. The timing of messages was spot on. The comfort you have brought me is huge. I hope to meet you again. Thank you. Thank you, sister. I appreciate that. That's always really cool to see when a reading I gave a while back, right? She's talking 2 years ago, 2 summers ago, when it hits. You know, we need to remember that sometimes with readings, probably not these as much because these are very specific, but when you get like a whole reading with me, I do give timelines as specifically as I can. But sometimes things come up about the future, you know, and people are like, I don't know, you know, or maybe they even dismiss it and then later on it ends up happening. It's pretty amazing. Okay. Are we still waiting? All right. I do want to let you guys know that I have increased the shows while we're waiting on the other questions to come in here. I so appreciate your continued support. I went from doing shows maybe twice a month to every single week, sometimes even twice a week. And my goal right now is to get up to twice a week consistently. So please keep on tuning in and share these. Okay, I will be back next Wednesday. This is a random. I don't normally do Fridays, but like I said, I had people staying here from out of town. on Wednesday, so I couldn't film because they were sleeping down here in the haunted house. So I will be back on my Wednesday schedule, and that's starting next week for the Unbound Sage. So the Unbound Sage is where you guys can drop a $10 donation, and I deliver out whatever message is most important for you to hear right now. And that's 9 p.m. Eastern back here on all of these platforms. Okay, so I will see you then for that. All right, we are going to go ahead and wrap up. Again, if you guys want to book a party, a psychic fair, a reading with me, go to Ivy Rivera Psychic Medium.com. And if you're like, I don't need a whole reading, I just have one question, drop an email reading and I'll get that back over to you in a voice clip ASAP. Thank you, Maraid. Thank you, Spirit. We'll see you guys for church on the 20th. Don't forget, it's How to Let Go of Guilt, 9 p.m. Eastern. That is also the registration deadline for the Psychic Mediumship course. And then after that, I'll see you back here Wednesday for another show similar to this. Have a good night, everyone.